Well, it's just an ordinary, everyday scorecard. It's illegal gambling, high-stakes poker, the kind of pot that makes a CSI's yearly salary look like nickel-dime. Odorless, tasteless, poisonous. Lethal dose is only 1/100th of an ounce. Possible murder weapon, but let's not get cocky till Doc Robbins has his say. We've done all we can with that item. Let's run this evidence by Captain Brass.
Now I know what we're dealing with. I can safely say cause of death is poisoning by sodium monofluoroacetate, compound 1080, a rare and interesting poison. The toxic effects of SFMA usually happen within minutes of ingestion and result from a conversion of non-toxic fluoroacetate ions to toxic fluorocitric acid, which then blocks the Krebs cycle, affecting the central nervous system and heart. Typically, death results from ventricular tachycardia or heart fibrillation. Layman's terms, ventricles of the heart start beating so rapidly as to prevent the pumping of blood. In some cases, death could be from respiratory failure caused by pulmonary edema. This essentially fills the lungs with water. Grissom wants you in the lab now that COD's been determined.
So, cause of death was determined to be pesticide. The Vic smoked it on his walkabout and dropped dead. But it's playing havoc with our Trinity. We don't have anyone to physically match to the crime scene.
You said it yourself. He died in the desert, potentially alone. But he was killed by poison. So what should you be looking for now?
A second crime scene, where the poison was originally mixed into the tobacco. And that's where we will find evidence linking the suspect to that crime scene.
Nicely reasoned, Greg. Now follow through.
Just a friend of mine, co-worker at the legal office. Where the hell did you get that?
Well, your mother-in-law thinks this friend is a lover.
Does she? So even the police are falling prey to her manipulative BS. She's a political animal, and when the heat's on her, she shifts it onto me, huh? Look, this guy's really just a friend, and I don't see why he should suffer because Emily Hansen wants to build up her reputation by tearing down others. How can you be so cold? I just lost the man I love, and if a friend wants to lend a sympathetic shoulder, that's hardly against the law. Sorry. I know you're just doing your job, and you have to look at everything and everybody, and I really do want to help. Look, you wanted boots, remember? I found some that my husband bought me ages ago. I intended to give them away. I know I never wore them. Maybe they'll help prove my innocence? Oh dear. Well, that's good, isn't it? I mean, it's progress at least. Please tell me he didn't suffer.
He did suffer, but it wasn't prolonged. There was a highly toxic pesticide in his tobacco. He smoked it and died of the poison.
Poison? My God, that's terrible. My baby, my poor, poor baby. Derek had his faults. God knows. I know, but how did this happen? Derek? Suicide? No, never a word. Frankly, he was too selfish for that. Oh, is that terrible for me to say, to admit? But he was self-centered, like all substance abusers and sick gamblers. and he was struggling with kicking his various habits, but still, I wouldn't call him depressed or anything. Oh my, do I have to? Really, this is personal, and it's all I have left of him. Those last memories. Well, we woke up and made love, and just rolled over into each other's arms, and... Anyway, then he got up and made breakfast. While we ate breakfast, he sprung it on me. He was taking one of his trips out into the desert. He didn't think I'd mind, since I was going to be working all week on my upcoming trial. Around then, Lou Astor, that jerk contractor, dropped by to pick up his materials, and Derek got into it with him. He was still in the kitchen, cleaning up after breakfast, when I left for work, and that was the last time I saw him. An image I'll treasure, because for all his faults and selfishness, there was that thoughtful side.
Maybe so, but I haven't seen that vehicle in weeks. Do you really think I drove out into the middle of the desert to find and kill my own son? What kind of monster do you take me for? Here at the house all day. Mr. Astor, my contractor, stopped by briefly, then left. I saw my son that afternoon. We spoke briefly in the garage as he was picking up his camping gear, which had been in storage there for months. I never touched any of it, by the way. Then he was on his way. Really quite unremarkable, except for the fact that I would never see him alive again.
We've done all we can with that item. We've done all we can with that item. We've done all we can with that item. Derek's hair on the broken rake handle. I don't think it got there while Derek was raking leaves. Not in Vegas, anyway.
It's the VIX. Service provider was very helpful. 3 stored messages on the voicemail. Got them all on tape. This just came in. We found the car in Utah. The woman driving it gave us her testimony. Bottom line, she hung out with him 3 days ago, then split home. Says it was her camera that took the photo you found. For your info, her car has a GPS and a mobile phone. She wears size 5 boots that match our print. She smokes, and her lipstick is of the reddish variety that matches our sample. And her voice matches the 911 tape. Since she didn't have any poison on her, I think we can cross her and her evidence off our list.
alone talk last night. Anytime you're in the mood for a stimulating conversation, I guess you know the number. And if a private show is on your mind, you know where to find your shining star.
Doesn't quite sound like the little woman, huh? Bone sex, lap dances. Derek was not as domesticated as his wife thought.
Derek, where the hell are you? You know we have company tonight. If you're out gambling again, I swear to God, call me and get your irresponsible ass home.
Carla's tone is a tad different than the sweet, patient wife she's been laying on us.
Well, Derek, I certainly raised a class act for a son. Hanging up on his own mother. Lovely. You know what the problem is? I spoiled you when tough love was called for. And if you don't honor your financial commitment to my campaign, my darling boy, I will show you just how tough a mother's love can be. Do I make myself clear?
And here I was wondering why Emily didn't make Mother of the Year. You got stood up when company came, and thought your husband might have been out gambling. Thought you and Derek had worked all that out.
Listen, Derek was human. He fell off his various wagons from time to time, and I had to be the bad guy sometimes. If that's suspicious, go out and arrest every couple that argues, why don't you? Anyway, I'd cooked a gourmet dinner for his friends, and he stood us all up. I told you all I can.
I don't have anything else for you.
Yes, shape of the wound, nature of the blunt instrument, Vic's hair. This rake handle is consistent with a head wound.
Is Lou Astor a contractor or an exterminator? Guy's got enough pesticide to wipe out a city block, and his tools have traces of our Vic on them. Let's bring Mr. Astor in and see what he can build for us this time.
A lot of people owe me money. It's the nature of the construction business. Yeah, so what? I run a friendly game between friends, you know?
Right, friendly.
Yeah, and Hardy owed me money from a recent game. Chump change for him, but he was stiffing me, and I was feeling like the chump. Guy just would not pay up. Acted like I was the lowly grunt who works with his hands, and he's some special rich kid.
So you write him a friendly note, you tell him to pay up or else, then you wait for him to come around the shop and crack him over the head with a rake.
That wasn't the way it was. He freaks out about my note, and he comes over here and goes off on me. So sure, I defended myself. I mean, the bastard said he was gonna kill me. Would you just stand there and let him rough you up? I don't think so.
Interesting take. Here's another. Derek was in the red with you in a big way, you and your poker friends. So you whack him a good one, sending him to his knees, breaking that rake in half. And while Derek's having a little nap on the floor, you take the opportunity to lift his tobacco from his pocket and sprinkle pesticide in his cigarettes.
Poison him? What are you, high? Listen, that ain't my style. If I got a problem with somebody, I'm not gonna... Geez, are you kidding? I mean, is that how he died?
I told you all I can.
I don't have anything else for you.
I don't have anything for you right now.
Way to be thorough. Looks like the area's clean. Hey there, want a hint? Sure, I might be able to help, but remember it'll count against you in your evaluation.
He's on his way to interrogation now.
And we found it in Derek's tobacco, too.
Hey, in my business, pesticide is part of the program. Let me tell you, I am beyond careful with that stuff. It's as deadly as a heart attack, and I keep it under lock and key in the office. I even wear gloves when I handle it.
Careful precautions, like leaving an open jar in your shop.
Please! I must have misplaced the lid when I used it up. Frickin' jar was empty anyway. No harm done. Listen, I didn't care much for the dude, but I didn't kill him. You'd have to check my records to know for sure. I mean, I've used it a lot. A few months back, Emily Hansen said, what was it she said? Oh yeah, she said, I have some pests that need taking care of. I brought it over there, but I think I spooked her some when I told her the care she needed to take around that deadly crap. Well, I was going to, but Carla has all these cats, you know, and she was worried about them getting into it. So I hauled it out of there.
Mother had pesticide in her garage, and she was there when Derek stopped by. We also have evidence linking her to the desert crime scene. I think we can get a judge to let us search that garage for anything that kills chemically.
Well, if that isn't wonderful news.
Pesticide Safety, a consumer's handbook. Not your standard book of the month club material. Oh, somebody thoughtfully dog-eared a page for us. And here's our old friend, Compound 1080. You'll want a different tool for that. Memos to her campaign manager. I hate paperwork. Looks like they talk about her son, though. This must be where Derek stowed his camping gear. Way to be thorough. Looks like the area's clean. I think we all have a hunch what this stuff is, but let's be sure. You'll want a different tool for that. We've done all we can with that item. Emily must have known all about the pesticide as a poison, but knowing doesn't necessarily mean doing. This tracks. We know Lou brought some of the rodenticide over to Emily's house. Derek's mom definitely had access to the pesticide in her garage, and she could easily have doctored his tobacco when he stopped by.
I've got nothing new to report on the Vic.